You're watching the best. Fox 10 News at noon.
After a 3-day government shutdown, Senate leaders come to an agreement to reopen the federal government. We'll tell you what this means.
Plus, what Governor Doug Ducey is now doing to fight the opioid crisis in Arizona and how doctors could be affected.
And we rank towards the bottom of a highway safety list here in Arizona, what the study is saying about our roads.
12 o'clock on the dot. Thank you for joining us. We start off with a Fox 10 News alert at this hour. The Senate has finally voted on the first crucial step to end the federal government shutdown.
The measure now heads to the House, putting the government on track to officially reopen within hours.
Every day we spend arguing about keeping the lights on is another day we cannot spend negotiating DACA or defense spending or any of our other shared priorities.
The short-term resolution will give Congress 3 more weeks to negotiate, extending funding for federal services until February 8th. The president casting blame for the shutdown on Democrats, tweeting this morning, the Democrats are turning down services and security for citizens in favor of services and security for non-citizens. Not good.
This is just ridiculous. So I don't think they knew what they were getting themselves into.
The shutdown began Saturday after Democrats derailed a Republican measure that would have kept government open until February 16th. But Democrats decided to hold out for a deal on DACA to protect hundreds of thousands of young immigrants.
Truth is, at this point, there are a host of issues, including immigration, that need to be resolved. And kicking the can down the road without some path forward does not make sense.
The stopgap funding measure, which needed 60 votes to clear a key procedural hurdle, was approved 81-18. President Trump has suggested Senate Republicans use a so-called nuclear option, changing the rules so they could vote to reopen the federal government with a simple majority. But Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell dismissed that idea, saying Republicans would welcome the option of a filibuster when they return to the minority. Another news alert for you this afternoon. Fox 10 has learned the Cardinals could be very close to announcing their new head coach. Multiple sources are saying the Cardinals are very far along on a deal to make the Panthers defensive coordinator Steve Wilks the new head coach of your Arizona Cardinals. The team could make an announcement sometime this week, so we'll continue to follow this story. We'll have the latest updates, and I'm sure Jude will be in later on today to talk about it on fox10phoenix.com.
Governor Doug Ducey looking to get lawmakers together for a special session in an effort to stop the opioid crisis. Ducey is proposing to bar doctors from prescribing more than an initial 5-day supply of pain medication. He's also looking to boost pain clinic regulation and add $10 million to help uninsured people get addiction treatment. Since Ducey called a special session, we could see the legislature pass a measure in as little as 3 days. The governor declared the crisis a public health emergency last year. Arizona Department of Health Services reported more than 800 deaths from suspected opioid overdoses since June of last year.
Also at our state capitol today, Arizona Superintendent of Public Instruction Diane Douglas is going to deliver her 2018 State of Education address at the House Education Committee. She's going to outline her initiatives for the upcoming year, also her vision for education here in Arizona. She's expected to talk about more funding for K-12 education, increasing teacher pay, and lawmakers may tackle those issues as well this legislative session.
New details this noon here. A man is dead after he was shot at a Glendale bar early this morning. Police identifying the victim as 48-year-old Julian Hackett. Glendale police were called to the area around 2:30 this morning in response to a shooting at Mark's Sports Grill and Nightlife near Peoria and 43rd Avenue. When police arrived, they found Hackett had been shot. Hackett taken to the hospital and died shortly after. No arrests have been made, but police say there was a man running from the scene there. If you have any information, please call Glendale Police.
We are learning that a hit-and-run accident has turned deadly. The incident happened last night near 28th Street in Thomas. The 56-year-old woman crossing the street, hit by a car. She was taken to the hospital and she did not make it. The driver later found and arrested. He was processed for DUI and criminal charges now currently pending against him.
Several people are in bad shape after a scary crash in Glendale. This was a scene just after midnight near 67th Avenue west of Grand. It appears one of the cars blew through the light, but it's not clear which vehicle had right-of-way. One of the cars flipped over on its roof, and we're told 4 people were in the vehicles. 3 of them taken to the hospital, 2 in serious condition. None of their injuries were considered life-threatening.
Well, some bad news for Arizona drivers. A highway safety group has named Arizona the third worst state in the country when it comes to highway safety. Reasons for our low ratings: because we are missing some key seatbelt laws, primary laws basically that you can be pulled over for not wearing a seatbelt. And according to the study, Arizona's annual economic cost due to car crashes, it seems like a very large number, but it's $4.1 billion a year.
It makes you think where those wrong way crashes possibly were factored in,
Yep.
right? Well, here's one pup that's truly living up to his name. His name is Lucky, and he's made a miraculous recovery after going through quite the ordeal. A couple of weeks ago, Lucky was found by a border agent in a remote part of the desert with a bullet lodged in his head. So, of course, the agent brought Lucky to a shelter in Bisbee. Turns out he had been shot right between the eyes, and the bullet had embedded itself in his jaw. The dog was brought back to the valley to the Animal Welfare League for treatment.
And you can feel the indentation between his eyes, and it's so unbelievable that it doesn't affect him.
It's unclear how the pup was shot or how he ended up in the desert, but he is now looking for a forever home. If you're interested, you can contact the Animal Welfare League.
The doctor who is admitted to molesting young Olympic athletes in court as he continues to listen to their testimony, how long he could face behind bars for his crime.
And even though the law says, folks become adults at the age of 18, science says otherwise. When do you really become a grown-up, Corey?
He's still working on it, I think.
Yeah. Am I going to be pinned down to a time? I hope not. Temps today, oh, they are cool. We've got some cloud cover as well, so kind of a gloomy Monday, but we'll turn things around in just a few minutes.
You are watching Fox 10 News at Noon with Troy Hayden and Celeste Rodriguez.
Vice President Mike Pence in Jerusalem today. Israel, the last stop on his Mideast tour.
Before landing in Israel yesterday, Pence had visited Jordan and Egypt. And while in Jordan, the vice president met with King Abdullah. In their meeting, the two officials, they agreed to disagree on the status of Jerusalem as Israel's capital. Palestinian officials refused to meet with Pence for that very reason. Pence met with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu this morning, where Pence earlier stated he was thankful for Jerusalem's warm welcome.
In making his historic announcement on December the 6th, President Trump did so convinced that by recognizing Israel's capital, Jerusalem, that we would create an opportunity to move on in good faith negotiations between Israel and the Palestinian Authority.
The vice president delivered a speech to the Israeli parliament after his meeting with Netanyahu, and he is expected to return to the U.S. tomorrow. Well, three key members of the board that oversees USA Gymnastics have now resigned.
Probably not a surprise, because it comes after more assault victims continue to come forward and testify against the former team doctor, Larry Nassar.
I, too, was sexually assaulted by Larry Nassar multiple times at multiple appointments. My last treatment was in August 2016. A week later, he was let go by MSU. I'm possibly the last child he will ever assault.
Doesn't it just break your heart to see these girls and women coming forward to say what this man did? Testimony continued this morning. The teen who just spoke added her testimony that Michigan State University is still sending her bills, believe it or not, for her appointments with Nassar. He admitted he molested athletes during treatment when working with Michigan State University and USA Gymnastics. He's been sentenced to 60 years in prison for child porn charges, faces another 25 to 40 years for molestation.
Tragedy strikes a Texas high school after a teen shoots a 15-year-old student this morning. It was at Italy High School, 45 miles south of Dallas. Deputies say the 15-year-old woman was taken to the hospital, 16-year-old shooter in custody. So far, no word on the victim's condition or if the shooter is a student at the school. The sheriff's office says students have been moved from the school and that an investigation is ongoing.
The law says you're an adult at 18, but science is saying it's really about 24 is the number. Scientists say that's the number now because so many young people are continuing their education for longer periods of time than they had in the past. They're delaying marriage and becoming parents. So today, the average couple marries for the first time when the groom is 32 and their bride is 30. That's 8 years later than it was in the 1970s.
24 seems a little young, don't you think, to grow up?
To be an adult? Yeah.
When do we really become a grown-up?
I felt like I wasn't really a
Emotionally.
grown-up until I had the kids. Don't you think that? I mean, then you
think
kind of
you're
have to
right.
look outside yourself a lot and be responsible. Actress Julia Louis-Dreyfus back at work following her battle with breast cancer when we might see the Veep star back on TV.
And we've got one gorgeous week scheduled for you. After we get through today, details in a few minutes.
Let's take a live look at the stock market, 12:12 on your Monday.
I told you it's never going down again.
It's good to see some green on the board.
We're all rich. What are we doing here? Let's go spend our cash.
I love your optimism.
Right back.
Fox 10 AccuWeather forecast with Christy, Corey, and Stephanie all day on the station for today's best country and all-time favorites. 102.5 KNIX.
Well, we've got an update for you to a breaking news story we brought you at the top of the newscast. The Arizona Cardinals just confirming that, yes, they have hired Steve Wilks as the team's new head coach. Wilks has agreed to a 4-year contract. He's expected to be introduced at a press conference tomorrow from the team's Tempe training facility. 48-year-old spent the past 6 seasons with Carolina Panthers, including last year as the team's defensive coordinator. And I read a report earlier today that Steve Keim, the team's GM, was on vacation in Carolina on the beach. And Wilks walked up to him and introduced himself. They had a big conversation. Keim says, I'm impressed with this guy.
Wow.
And now he's the new head coach.
Look at that. You never know when you're going to have the opportunity for a new gig,
Right?
huh?
Yeah.
Your exclusive AccuWeather forecast with Corey McCloskey on Fox 10
Way
News.
back to the station. And, Jude, you know Jude.
Yes.
I've met him. Sure.
Pulse, finger on the pulse.
Oh, yeah.
He said that the Panthers are all behind this guy. That they say he'll command everyone's respect, that he's just going to be great.
Well, I
I'd
gotta
love
make
to have him
reservations
here.
for the
Yeah.
Super Bowl next year. Where is it? Probably Miami, New Orleans.
I don't know where it will be. Might as well be here.
Yeah.
We really have the best facility for it.
And the best weather,
nice.
too.
Why not a
This guy's going
hometown
to love
Super
it.
Bowl?
Why not?
They've never had one.
Yeah.
Minnesota's hopes
now
were
we need a
dashed.
quarterback, though.
Yeah, we do. I'm sure that's going to be the big talk, too.
Yep.
Well, here's your day. This is how things are going at the noon hour, and things are coolish. 52 degrees. That's the best we're going to be able to do for the noontime temp, and we won't get too far past that as we roll through the rest of the day. But warmer days are coming, don't you worry. Here's the way we stand now. Again, thin clouds continue to hang over Arizona, and it's going to continue to be a kind of a gray day for today. We'll eventually see things break up tonight, but boy, look at this. We've got some real weather here across Northern California. It looks as though it's going to continue more of an eastward track rather than dipping its way down across Arizona, though. So we're scheduling ourselves for sunshine to return tomorrow, and I think we'll be able to hold on to it for much of the week. Now, here's the way the numbers look. 36 in Prescott, 57 in Yuma, 29 in Flagstaff. It's only 28 over at Window Rock, so it's cool all over the state, and here in the valley, it's 50s for everybody. It's hard to find a number much warmer than that. So 52 at Cave Creek, 54 out there with the good guys and gals at Luke Air Force Base, 53 degrees out Wickenburg way. Now around the rest of the country, well, things are very mild across the east. East of the Mississippi, it's fantastic. 61 in the nation's capital this morning, 60 in Charlotte after they were all in such a deep freeze last week. But we do have weather on the march, and it is causing all kinds of trouble here across the northern plains. Blizzard warning out from central Minnesota down into eastern Nebraska. We've got some real trouble there. Out ahead of all of that, thunderstorms, like a springtime situation here, and that's why it's so warm out ahead of that cold front. However, on the backside of things, things are very, very snowy, and that's why we have that blizzard warning in effect. And again, we're talking about snow falling at times at the rate of 1 inch to 2 inches per hour. You add in 40 or 50 mile an hour winds to that, and you're going to get some exciting winter weather. But back here, easy day for us. Again, here's the way we top things out this afternoon. Just the 60s, low 60s in the deserts, 36 your afternoon high in Flagstaff. But here in the valley over the next few days, the sunshine returns, the temperatures begin their rise, and we're in for a really nice run as we get ourselves into the latter half of January. February. It's rushing toward us, really. Today's the 20th, right?
22nd. 22nd.
Yeah.
Wow,
It's
this
Monday.
takes us all the way up into February on Wednesday, so be prepared.
Look at
Look
you.
at that. Look at that 79. That's 79 degrees.
No, it's near, don't even say it.
It's almost sunbathing weather.
Oh, I'm sure your high school days were spent
Yeah.
out back.
Do you
That's
still have
right.
the Hawaiian Tropic, the coconut smell?
You
and
name
stuff?
it, I got it.
Oil.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, Richard Science just texted me the Super Bowl's in Atlanta next year, which would be
Great
fun.
shirt, he's
We
all
need to go.
over it.
And look
Yeah.
at him.
Thank you, Richard.
Look at him as the
Crackerjack.
noon viewer. He's on it.
Oh, sure he is.
Well, coming up after the break, it was a star-studded weekend in the Valley. Why Jay Leno and former George W. Bush, former president, why they were here in town. Welcome back. The Hollywood Awards season is well underway with the Screen Actor Guild Awards last night. The stars of TV and film celebrated the best in entertainment. The dark comedy 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri led the way with 3 trophies, including the night's top honor, Best Cast in a Motion Picture. The ceremony also marked the first time in 24 years the show had an official host, Kristen Bell.
Actress Julia Louis-Dreyfus is heading back to work after her battle with breast cancer. She is scheduled to begin filming the 7th and final season of her HBO series Veep in August. In my opinion, maybe the best show on television. What are you doing over there? You okay? Production of the show was placed on hold while the star underwent treatment. Dreyfus shared the news of her diagnosis publicly on social media in September in the hopes that her journey would inspire others. Veep is expected to return the air in 2019.
The nominees for its media awards this year. Among this year's nominees are Lady Bird for Outstanding Film Wide Release and The Handmaid's Tale for Outstanding Drama Series. Rapper Jay-Z set to receive a special recognition award for his song Smile, a track honoring his mother who recently came out as a lesbian.
A couple of big names took the stage at Barrett-Jackson on Saturday night. Car enthusiast and comedian, former Tonight Show host Jay Leno, and former President George W. Bush. They teamed up to auction off a limited edition Corvette. Corey showed us that. Didn't you show us that on your live shot out there? Yeah, with the signature. Good job, buddy. President Bush even threw in a private round of golf with him to the highest bidder. So the 2018 Corvette Carbon 65 sold for $1.4 million, and the proceeds went to the Military Service Initiative.
Well, still to come on Fox 10 News at noon, there's a conspiracy theory going on around the internet.
It has to do with the quarterback of the New England Patriots.
Well, now that the Patriots are going to the Super Bowl again, there's a conspiracy theory floating around that yesterday's game against the Jaguars was fixed.
And it all has to do with the New England quarterback. Conspiracy theorists have been posting video on Twitter. They say was the first person to congratulate him on the win was the ref. Hey, good job, buddy. Yeah, we got it. And it's good. Just like I said. Spotted tapping him on the back and patting him on the chest before walking away. Theorists add that the fact that the Patriots only had 1 penalty called against them the whole game.
Really? Only
Jaguars
one?
had 6.
Jeez.
So, yeah, there you go.
Interesting.
I'm shocked they're back in the... there have been 52 Super Bowls. They've been in 10 of them. Basically, 1 out of every 5 Super Bowls
20%
has featured that terrible mascot of the guy in the colonial clothes playing football
Right.
on the side of their helmet.
Well, they're
It
Patriots.
isn't a great-looking mascot. you're
No.
right.
He needs to look a little meaner.
Oh, gosh, that was a
Don't
great play.
write me on
It
social
was.
media. I
Thanks for
respect
watching,
what they're doing.
everyone.
See ya.
Have a great day.